Welcome to day number 9 of CSI8 Certification. Today we're going to look at CSI Fuel Manager. Let's take a look. To open CSI Fuel Manager, you can click the fuel pump icon that has Fuel Manager written below it, highlighted in green to the left, or at the top of the screen you see the same icon just above the green arrow. The Fuel Manager screen has several components that all function very uniquely together. We're going to go through each component and then from there see if we can make it very clear how this screen functions. The first component we're going to talk about is the calendar. The calendar is a pretty basic functioning calendar, just like most you've seen on the internet. It has the arrow keys right and left. You can click on the July and get a scroll. It's just a simple functioning calendar. That said, when you select a date on the calendar, below the calendar it's going to show all of the days of that month with the total fuel sales by date. Below that list is going to show the total for the month, the number of fuelings, and GPAF is GPAF, is gallons per aircraft fueled. The first list to the right of the calendar is a detailed list of invoices for the selected date. To the right of that list is the fuel ticket list. If you have your fuel truck set up with TCS Hub and you work with me so we can get it all set up together, then you can actually see your fuel tickets from CSI. At the bottom of the screen to the right, those three short lists are showing the aircraft that were fueled by shift. Now it's getting the time of these fuelings from the fuel trucks. So if the fuel truck has the wrong time, this is going to be skewed. So yes, this information is only as good as you manage the data on your fuel trucks. At the top of the Fuel Manager screen in the yellow background is the filtering section of Fuel Management Daily. You wouldn't know it unless I had it color-coded on the training, but this filtering takes place in rows. So the top row gives you one set of filters and the bottom row gives a second set of filters. Without training, you wouldn't know that. But the way the filtering works, for example, is on the green highlighted area over to the left, you could select GA, and then in the bottom section, you could select avgas, and the screen would show you all of your avgas sales totals by day in the list below the calendar, and then to the right of the calendar on fuel sales invoiced, it would show all of the avgas sales for that day only. This is the filtering section. We'll be demoing that further as we go. The last component on this screen I want to discuss is the CSI tab. And what I want to make clear is it's going to be well discussed and well trained during the last 6 days when we're doing CSI sales training. So CSI8 certification sales will include the training on the Fuel Manager CSI tab. Okay, so let me tell you what I've done. I went to the previous month in June and selected June 9th. Yes, this is being videoed in July of 2022. And you can see that when I selected June 9th, that the list below the calendar also selected June 9th. I didn't have to click it a second time. It does it automatically. So that list and that calendar are totally synchronized. Then at the top of the screen in the yellow background area, I did exactly what I said earlier. I selected GA and I selected avgas, and now the list below the calendar and the list to the right have been filtered to only show avgas sales. So now I'm seeing my total avgas sales by date below the list and my total avgas invoices for the June 9th, which is the date selected. Okay, so here's what I've done. I've selected June 27th, and I also went to the top list, the top filtering row, and selected commercial. And then I selected all in the second row. If I would have left it at abgas, as you can see, the abgas is red, which basically is telling us there are no abgas commercial sales. And so now my two lists are filtering my total commercial sales, and then to the right of the calendar, I'm seeing the individual invoices that were commercial invoice sales for June 27th. Now what I've done is CSI setup configuration knows that Millionaire Indianapolis is using TFBO, and CSI has a database connection to Indianapolis's TFBO database from within CSI. Yes, we have that for several locations, not just our company-owned stores, but several franchisees that use TFBO. We have this connectivity with them as well. And here's what that does for us. Below the calendar, you see I've selected TFBO not filtered. What that means is when that's selected, all of the filtering options in the yellow area are ignored. All you get when you select TFBO not filtered are your total sales for each day, totalized for each day. Now, what that does for you is your total below that list, which says 283,114.3, that should match the total when you have the CSI option selected. So below the calendar, you have the CSI option, the TFBO not filtered. When you toggle between those two options, the totals at the bottom of that list should match. The only time they won't match is when somebody has deleted, voided, modified an invoice in TFBO, because CSI does not delete invoices. CSI leaves deleted invoices for that day in that day so that the manager, when they return back the following day or during the day, can look and see if invoices have been deleted. This is not a bug in CSI, this is a feature. So let's talk about that feature in more detail. You can see on the screen, I put my mouse over this button to the right that says re-replicate June 27, 2022. Let's assume for the moment that if I were to toggle below the calendar, if I would toggle the CSI option and the TFBO not filtered option, let's say I found that the gallons on the 27th do not reconcile. I could then look in the screen, and if I look in the screen right now, I see some red in the screen, which means there's been some changes, some invoices deleted. I could see that and say, okay, I got things going on here and things aren't matching. So now I can either do investigations with my front desk staff to find out, hey, who changed what and why, or if I already know about it, then I would just go ahead and click that re-replicate button, and CSI will delete CSI's data. It will go back to TFBO and read all the TFBO data for that day and recopy it back into CSI. So at the time of the button being clicked, both CSI and TFBO will once again reconcile. Okay, that concludes day number 9, CSI Fuel Manager part number 1. So let's continue on to day number 10.